In the name of the hip, and the po, and the potamus, we gather together here today as Hippopotamus Nation. And we have many green waters around us, and they are rather delicious. We like to eat our water. So spoke the hippopotamus at the head of the table, as the table was actually just a large piece of water, surrounded on all sides by seagulls who were pooping. But anyhow, the family, which consisted of the father, the mother, the other father, and the many hippo children, they gathered around. Now, in the sky was a rainbow, and the rainbow was actually many colours that the hippopotamus couldn't really see. So to them it just looked like stripes of various shades. Anyhow, moving on is what happened next. Something that came rather out of the blue from the hippopotamus's point of view, and it sounded like this. What the actual foot, said one of the hippo children. Sorry, no cursing around the table, said the mother hippo. What the actual hand, said another hippo. No, none of that sort of language either, little bossy. And so the mother rested her mouth, as did the children, as they poked each other with each other's belly buttons under the table. The sound perpetuated in the distance, and it seemed to grow louder and louder as the meal went on. The meal was scallops and little children. And by children I mean goats, little baby goats, that had been killed earlier, and then regurgitated, made into a stew, and served up. So, it was a rather delicious meal for the hippos. But the sound was rather unsettling, for it disturbed them in many unusual ways. At first, it created a sort of rumble in their bellies, and their blubber started to reverberate, and waves of their fat splashed through their bellies. And next, it pierced their ears and caused a slight ringing noise in all of their heads, which was rather a perturbation on the hippopotamus's point of view. And the third thing that it did was that it, of course, caused them to be grumpy, because quite everything in the world causes a hippopotamus to be grumpy. And so the noise continued and continued, until one of the hippos discovered what it was. Oh my dear Lord, said one of the hippos. It is a goat. It is a goat in the sky, and it is flying towards us as we eat. What? What are you talking about, young one? I do not see any goat, and goats cannot fly. But mother, it is not a flying goat. It is a falling goat. It seems to be falling from the sky at rather a rapid speed. Don't be so stupid, you absolute imbecile. Mother hippo, said the father hippo, maybe you should be a little more polite to our offspring. That is not necessary. They need a good upbringing, or else they will not be fat enough to fill the pond. The father conceded, and the mother rested her mouth once again. And so their eyes fell upwards towards the heavens, and quite rightly they did see a goat falling, falling, falling from the sky. Its little horizontal slits of pupils were dilated, and so their eyes looked completely black, which was a rather disturbing sight for what you're used to seeing when looking at a goat. Its forelegs were splayed so that it looked a little bit like a star, and its udder was on full show. In fact, little droplets of milk were squeezed out of it, almost as if it was raining goat milk, of the organic variety, that is. Some of the children opened their mouth to catch these little droplets of milk, and some of them quite simply opened their mouth out of sheer awe, for it was a sight that was quite clearly once in a lifetime. Now, while this was falling at rapid speed, it was falling from quite a distance, so it was enough time for the hippos to make a plan for what would happen once the goat fell upon their table, because it did seem to have a trajectory that was lined up with the center of their table. The center of the table, where the pot of regurgitated baby goat stew sat. "Dearie me, dearie me," said the father hippo. "If we are to save our stew from being absolutely splattered and ruined by this goat, we're going to have to form a circle." And that circle they did form. Well, it was rather more of a zigzag shape, but anyhow, it was enough to create a boundary around the pot of stew, which was in the middle of their water table. Now, one of the baby goats was full of gas. It had been eating quite a lot of seaweed that day, and seaweed is not good for hippos. So bubbles filled him up. And when the mother hippo realized that her baby was full of air and trapped wind, she had the following idea. "Little one, oh, little one, you are quite simply a hot air balloon waiting to fly. How would you feel about being a little bit of a tool for the family at the moment? In fact, you don't have a choice. Little one, you're going to lie under the pot of stew, and you are going to cushion the goat's fall. Well, actually, you're going to act as a springboard. The goat is going to fall upon your belly, and it is going to be flung right into the air over to the shark tank, which lies in the nether regions of this region. Do you think that you could do that, little hippo?" "But Mom, I want to eat the goat." "No, you're not going to eat the goat. You're going to fling him